It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
And welcome back to the Working Week. It is Car con Carne, sponsored by our friends at C&H Financial Services, also by our friends at Siren Records in McHenry. I'm James Van Alstyne. And coming up 1 week from tonight, I'd been talking about a return to the car because for the first 6 years of this podcast, I did it in my car. It's called Car con Carne. It's titular. It's in the title. But I decided I need to wait a little while longer for the world to get vaccinated and for things to feel a little safer. So we're going to wait on returning to the car for a little bit. So that said, 1 week from tonight is episode 600 of Car con Carne. And I wanted to do something special. I wanted to do something in the car. That's just not going to happen. So instead, 1 week from tonight, I'm going to record the Night of 1,000 Stars. It won't be 1,000 stars. It'll be a lot of people. I'm going live at 5:30 Central Time next Monday, probably through about 10 or 10:30 p.m. I'm going to have literally dozens of people on the show. They'll all be slotted in, some surprises. It's just nonstop, wall-to-wall interviews, chat, and of course, hilarity and good-natured family fun. Car con Carne, 1 week from tomorrow night, Night of 1,000 Stars. Tonight, it's the night of one really big broadcast stars. It's Kevin Matthews. Kev, if there were a Mount Rushmore of Chicago radio, your generously sized head would be right there on it.
And it is big. It is. It's an Irish horse head. It is. It's a trait. It's just the older I get, the bigger. A Clydesdale must have originated from Ireland because it is hideous.
So some background for those who inexplicably don't know Kevin Matthews. He landed in Chicago in 1987, built his legend working on mighty radio stations like The Loop and WMVP. Yeah. He did mornings at the long gone WXCD, middays at WCAG. Right. He's an author. He's a podcaster. He's a music fan.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the present, more or less.
And you're celebrating 6 years. That doesn't seem like 6 years.
Well, here's the thing about podcasts, and you know this. People start podcasts all the time. I think 10 podcasts have started since we started talking tonight. Yeah. But no one ever lasts more than 3 or 6 months. They realize pretty quickly, holy shit, this is a lot of work and I'm not making a lot of money. I'm out.
Yeah. No, podcasting's not new. And I actually started podcasting. The first podcast is when I got fired at ABC, which is it's 21 years ago. I've always embraced technology, and I remember the internet, and I knew the Trojan horse, and I witnessed the death of radio through satellite radio when they took advertising. Why are you listening to this station when you could be listening to 5,000? We don't play commercials. I'm like, well, okay, great. We're going to be dead in 5 years. And
the Trojan horse, the calls coming from inside the house.
Yeah. I'll never forget that. But that's congratulations, man. 6 years. That's great.
Thank you. It's actually, I think we're at 7 now, which is bananas. So one thing I keep bringing up on this podcast and just in life in general is the lack of music curation in the present. I mean, we are both of eras where curation was much more pronounced. You knew where to find new music. You knew where to go to find new music. You knew who those trusted voices were, be it in print, on air, wherever. You knew who was going to turn you on to the good stuff. We're in this weird time, Kev, when you can find anything ever written, ever created, ever committed to CD or tape or whatever, but you don't know how to find the stuff you really care about. And curation's been something that's been a sticking point for me. And I try to be a curator with my radio show and with this podcast. And you're doing something now, which is it's straight up music curation. And to your point at the beginning of this interview, you've always tried to be digital savvy and in front of technology. Yeah. Let's talk about Elevator A Go-Go, because this is it's a combination of everything. It is performances in an old abandoned elevator shaft. I mean, that's the elevator pitch, so to speak.
Yeah, I have always been a big fan Oh, I grew up on music, and when I got into radio, I've always been able, for the most part, times I've been able to play anything I want. When I was in college, our college radio station was such a renegade radio station. We eventually were thrown off the air. The FCC took it away. The university took it away. They hated us. But at the same time, I got exposure to Miles Davis or jazz, or, we broke the Sex Pistols. We were playing British imports. And so I'm getting all this stuff from England before it hits America. And while America's listening to disco, I'm listening to the Sex Pistols, the Clash, Madness, the Specials. All this stuff was coming in. And then when I got hired in Chicago at the Loop, for the most part, every once in a while, I just like to take a musical break. And I broke so many bands. I remember when Pearl Jam was new and I got it in my hands, and I played Jeremy the whole day. And this idiot program director came in. What are you doing? I go, get out of here, first of all. I'm playing it because I know it annoys you, but I really like it. And I was able to play anything I want. And I broke a lot of bands on the Loop. And, music was always important to Steve Dahl. He broke stuff like Steve Vai and Brandmeier. He, was always... I was listening to John Prine when I was in college, but it was really fun to hear Johnny play John Prine, or, he and Steve like Jimmy Buffett, or what. But I mean, it was really fun. It was fun to watch everybody. Who did they listen to musically? And
Well, it's funny. You're talking about that idiot program director who didn't get Pearl Jam.
He was such a dick. And he got fired like 3 days. He came up from St. Louis to help program the Loop, and we just said to Larry Wirt, fire him, and he died. He just, like flash paper, he's gone. Okay.
Broadcast history is littered with stories like that.
Yeah.
Let's bring in someone from out of town to take care of these outsized radio personalities.
Yeah, how stupid, it was. So I've always loved radio, but, getting back to this freight elevator, here I am now. I've been out of radio for a while. I've been off podcasting. I left the Steve Dahl Network just because I got so busy with this project and my book and whatnot. But a friend of mine is a great photographer, and his wife is a great photographer. They've got this building in Grand Rapids. It's a 100-year-old building. It's right across from Founders Brewery. And I went in there because they were doing a video project for me. And it's so spacious and it's so old. And they had this giant freight elevator. And I looked at it and I said, Bob, we should do something in this freight elevator. Because I'm a big fan of like Jam in the Van.
Yeah.
And when it was in a van, and, bands would cram in that van and then they would play. And I always loved that. And then I watch bands coming into the tiny desk.
Believe me, I totally get it. I'm a guy who's had bands perform in his car. Yeah, I get it.
Of course you do.
I love it.
Yeah, look at you. You're in your car 6 years with bands. So anyways, I said, let's get some performers to come into this freight elevator, and we'll shoot them still photography, high def video. I've got a great sound engineer. It's like working with Tesla. And so we're only a year old, and we're starting to get all kinds of musicians to come in and perform. And
this is Elevator A Go-Go.
A Go-Go, yes.
People want to check this out as we're talking about this. Elevator A Go-Go.
It's real new, and it's only a year old. It's elevatораgogo.com. And we're always looking for any kind of music because I love that. I've got such a diverse palette for music, so it can be any genre.
So I've watched some of these performances. First of all, to your point about video, this is really well done stuff. I mean, this is totally pro. What we're doing right now is so small time compared to what happens on Elevator A Go-Go. the Bobby Haggard performance was the first one I saw, which is like this a cappella blues performance in an old elevator shaft.
Yeah.
That was incredibly striking. What a way to lead.
Well, you know, and we shot that just before America shut down with COVID. And Bobby is a treasure here in Grand Rapids. And I said, Bobby, come on in. He was recovering from a stroke. And he just wanted to sing this a cappella song. And it is a beautiful old slave song. And he just did it a cappella. And that kicked off. He christened the elevator. And since we've had a guy up from Texas, the Last Knife Fighter, we've got people coming in now. And I really love the diversity. And the bands need the exposure because, you know, where do they go to perform these days? You can only play, I mean, a band will play maybe, Jam in the Van twice or Tiny Desk. They're always looking for a social platform to play on, and we've given them a new one.
Oh, I love it. And it's unique. You've got your You've got your pitch. You've got your special sauce. Show Me the Money, that Nathan Walton song was also great.
He's a good kid, man. He's a really good kid who's bringing. And then these artists, they go, "Hey, I know somebody. I'm going to call them. They're up from Florida," you know. And I love that, and I love the name too because I was trying to, what do I call this? And we've got an elevator. And I said to Bob Newman, the photographer, I said, you know, I'm a big fan of anything with go-go in it. You know, and so I said, let's name it Elevator a Go-Go. And we did, and it caught. And now we're getting, you know, some folks from, we're working with folks in New Orleans and Austin and Nashville.
The music cities.
Yeah, and they're, you know, like Nashville, there is some stuff happening in Nashville that nobody hears.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know,
there's so much music going on there.
There's so much, and there's so much still going on in New Orleans. We decided what we did, James. We're searching America. We want to wake the world up because if you grew up, I was, you know, here there was Elvis, and then came the Beatles, and then came, you know, like Dylan and Hendrix and Joplin and the Stones. And then, you know, came in like the Sex Pistols, and then came in, you know, more rock, but then Nirvana comes in, and, you know, then we get people like Amy Winehouse and Lady Gaga. These they shift the matrix, if you will. And I'm looking for the next, you know, what act out there is so different, they're going to take over the world.
Well, I think we're like-minded in a lot of respects, but especially when it comes to music, I have always appreciated a diversity of sounds. I think if you look at anyone's Spotify playlist or phone playlist, it's not one static sound. I mean, you like your Americana, you like your blues, you like your rock, you like your punk rock. I mean, you embrace everything that's out there, which I think is important if you're curating this stuff and booking bands to play in an elevator or booking artists to play in an elevator. You have to have that kind of open mind and broad palette.
Yeah, because that's what we used to do when I first got into radio. And a friend of mine, we both worked overnights, and we met at his house, and we would drink beer and smoke pot. And then he would pull out these albums because they're all British imports, or he'd pull out this album, and I'll never forget the day he pulled out Grandmaster Flash. And that just changed me so much. I mean, it was just, to this day, that record, or, you know, he would pull out, he'd hold up this album and he'd go, "Would you do Her?" And I look at the album jack and I go, "Yeah, I would. It's a guy, it's Boy George." And we were playing the British import of Boy George, you know, and it was just really fun to just grab these albums, listen to them, like Fun Boy 3, Pass the Doochie, you know, or
Youth.
Yeah. I mean, you would just hear this stuff, and it was just bombardment of different stuff. You know, Motorhead. I remember the first time I ever heard Motorhead, and it was like the loudest band I've ever heard. And I said, wow, I nobody can top this.
To date, the two loudest concerts I've ever seen, the Ramones at the Riviera and Motorhead at the House of Blues. Those are those shows where you feel the bass.
Oh my
you
God.
feel it's like wind being
Well, that's Lemmy.
Yeah.
You know,
my
of
God.
course you're going to feel the bass. And a friend of mine, Stig, we're back in radio, and we signed up for the Motorhead Appreciation Fan Club. He is club member number 1. I'm 2, because we're listening to this stuff we're listening to this stuff over through British imports, and I'll just never forget that. And I miss that. I want to know who is out there,
Yes.
and what are you listening to now, James, for example? And anybody that's watching us, if you know of an unsigned band or a solo artist that just needs some attention and needs a record deal, please just go to Elevator A Go-Go. It's a simple little sign up so that we can watch them. Everybody's got to go through Elevator A Go-Go. There's no cost, there's no obligation, but it helps us. It organizes our search.
That's the best. This is the curation we're talking about, finding those bands and sharing them.
Yeah, definitely share them. Like, James, in Chicago, we're looking, and again, we're going to get to all the states. We decided, let's go in the Midwest, Chicago, Nashville, New Orleans. We're going to hit, all the other states. But in Chicago, who is it in Chicago that you'd go, you got to watch?
I can name you 200 bands, but I'm not going to do it
Right.
on this.
Or maybe that's
podcast,
not fair.
Right. I don't. I'm always careful, like publicly, because I do a local music show. I never showing too much bias. I mean, some bias is inevitable, but I'm careful out of respect to the artist to not like prop a bunch up and push a bunch down. I can share a bunch of names with you happily after we're done talking.
And I would love people to do that. Share names, and please go to Elevator A Go-Go, because we're watching. And this is not American Idol. This is not The Voice. I'm looking for bands or groups, and I don't care if it's rap or whatever, just turn me on.
That's just it. I mean, this isn't a scam or
no.
any number of things you see on the internet. This is just you saying, hey, help me find some cool stuff to film and do something awesome with.
Yeah, like, we're going to do a band. This person is a percussionist. Okay, now there's a challenge, but he's an unbelievable percussionist. And I want him to do a cover of a Tangerine Dream track on the train. If you remember the
Risky
Tom
Business.
Cruise? Yeah. That song is great on its own, but I think it is worth re-recording and doing a different version of that.
That would be cool. And I would urge, I have a lot of musicians who watch this or listen to this. I would urge you check out Elevator A Go-Go. I mentioned the video quality. This is top-notch stuff happening there.
Thank you.
What's really cool, Kevin, is this is a portable concept. I mean, as you're talking about other cities like New Orleans and Nashville, you could scout out other elevators in other cities to do these things.
And we're doing that, yes. And we can actually take an elevator shaft with us. So we can literally, because we've already been invited to come, to New Orleans or come over to Austin, I've always been a fan of Austin, because I was a big fan of, look at what Willie Nelson and everybody did. Willie and Waylon, they left Nashville and went to Austin. And Austin, I just learned to love so much in Austin, and still do to this day. We just did a big Valentine, Texas. We did a Valentine tribute show from the elevator on Valentine's Day in Valentine, Texas, and it was really great.
Yeah, I love Austin, and it's becoming I haven't been there for a few years, but it's becoming pretty active, pretty busy. A lot of people are leaving the West Coast and heading to Austin. I think Rogan dropped anchor there.
Yeah, they're one for taxes.
Yeah.
They at least Texas, and I see that same thing happening. I see Detroit being in Michigan. I know of musicians that are really coming from different parts of America to do music here in Michigan, Detroit. It's really fun to watch that grow, and I just love to see where it's growing. The Americana movement. I've always been a huge fan of Americana. Right. And to me, Americana music, when did it start for you, James? Like, if you could put an Americana artist that you first recognized and maybe enjoyed.
For me, I mean, I think I probably heard lots of artists that qualified as Americana for a while, but I think the first time I was really aware of it was in the 90s, and I think it was because of Bloodshot Records in Chicago.
Okay.
Their stable of insurgent country artists, the first old 97s album.
Yeah.
Alejandro Escovedo. I like all that stuff. They did such a good job of, again, curating that sound. But yeah, I'm a fan. I love that stuff too.
And to me, it really came, believe it or not, Ricky Nelson. When Ricky just in his Canyon band, and even the sound of Laurel Canyon in California generated so much. But then I remember even over at the Loop, Steve Dahl got turned on to Steve Earle.
Yes.
And, and then I always was a fan of Willie or Guy Clark or, anything coming out of, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimmy Vaughan, the Thunderbirds. Junior Brown was Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar teacher. And so I'm just constantly looking at stuff. Like, I love, for years, Lucinda Williams.
Yep.
What I love about women that I really appreciate musically, I think they would kick my ass. Like, for some reason, if I ever met Lucinda, I think she would haul off and hit me. Oh. I don't know why. Women I admire, I think are going to hit me.
There's some deep-rooted stuff going on with you.
Big time. But Lucinda, who else was? Oh, or just even like Jimmy Vaughan.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Vaughan and the Fabulous Thunderbirds, when I met Jimmy Vaughan, if you take a look at one of the album jackets, Jimmy's got his foot is broken. He's wearing a foot cast. His hair looks awesome. And I was going to meet him, and he broke his foot because he kicked somebody in the face. And I'm thinking, he's going to beat me up. So anybody I like Jimmy or Lucinda, I think is going to beat me up. So yeah, you're probably right. I should really go see somebody.
But I mean, to your point, as you're naming off all these names, Steve Earle especially, I liked the music before I knew what it was. I knew what the genre was. Yeah. Americana as an overarching title was something I wasn't really familiar with until the 1990s. But yeah, I mean,
right.
I remember hearing that Steve Earle stuff on XRT back in the day. And,
yeah. And that's true. And I mean, XRT broke so much and the Mavericks. I love the Mavericks because I loved Willie Nelson. He and Waylon would go over into Mexico. And then if you start to listen to even Johnny Cash, and they would bring in horns.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how come I love the Mavericks, because you just want to get drunk and hear horns and accordions and just get drunk and wake up in a desert and you've just been bitten by rattlesnakes. And
here's the weirdest thing. As you're talking about Willie and Waylon and that stuff, my son, who's a freshman in college, he really actively likes two kinds of music.
Okay.
Really dark, extreme, scary fucking metal music, like the stuff from Sweden where they burn down churches, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then like outlaw country, like Willie, he likes all that Willie and Waylon stuff, and all like the Sun Records, Johnny Cash, like the most bizarre polarity in his music taste. But I look at that and think, oh, there's hope. Like just
Yeah,
it's such a diverse range for someone his age.
I agree. When your siblings have musical taste, you feel like a proud parent. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Now you got me thinking of what else is on his playlist. That's excellent. That's great. But again, if anybody's watching this and you've come across, or if you're watching this in I don't care, I'll take anybody. Please go to Elevator a Go Go and fill out the artist, and give us some ways of tracking these people, and we will. But we're looking now first in Chicago or Illinois, Tennessee, Louisiana, Chicago, New Orleans, and Tennessee. But if you're watching us and you're down in Lakeland, Florida, and you know somebody, let us know. We'll take it.
Okay, so how does this work? If I'm a local band watching, which I'm not, if I am, and I want to be part of this, and I submit my information, and you think, oh, this is great, I want to do something. Does that mean I, as the artist, am driving to Grand Rapids to do this?
What we're going to do is we're going to pick people from Chicago, let's say, or Illinois, because there might be somebody down in Springfield. We'll take somebody from Illinois, somebody from Tennessee, somebody from New Orleans. We will pay their way to come into Grand Rapids. We will shoot them in the elevator. And then we search other states. And then I got a big announcement, because we've gotten some really great partners. So we're just taking these little baby steps right now. We're going to choose people, get them in the elevator, shoot them, and then we've got an even bigger announcement. This is going to be very helpful to bands that need exposure, world exposure.
I love it. All right, that's it. I will say, a trip to Grand Rapids, it's a delightful road trip, 3 hours.
It is. You know what? Yeah, it really is. And there's a lot happening here. Actually, Grand Rapids, I've always said this, reminds me of an up-and-coming Austin.
Sure. It's a cool town. I went there to see you a few years.
Well, we've got great, we've got great musical venues. We've got great art. We've got, we're the beer capital of the world. I mean, everybody brews beer here. And, it's just blue collar, really hardworking folks. And it is a sweet, sweet town.
I love it. Okay. So again, Elevator a Go Go, local musicians, local artists.
Yes.
Check out the videos. I mean, really, if you need any convincing, check out the videos and see the work they're doing. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, and I'm really glad. Like I said, when you walk away, like Nathan is the last person. We're doing this woman. She reminds me of Amy Winehouse colliding with Tammy Wynette. And she is so cool and different. But she'll walk away when we're done with photography and video that's worth about $18,000.
Without a doubt.
That she can use, and this is free. So I just want to help, especially we were talking last week, James, I'm really worried about live music and entertainment right now. I mean, I know so many people that are stagehands or lights and technicians, and bands themselves are just, they're going away. They're unplugging for good. That's not good.
Agreed. Okay. So elevatorogogo.com. Before I let you go, can I just talk to you about some general stuff?
Sure.
I mean, because I've got Kevin Matthews on the call. I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk to you about broadcasting and you.
Yeah.
So I guess my first question is, let's talk about your health. How are you doing? Because your struggles with MS are pretty well documented.
Yeah. Actually, I've learned to live with that. And I got great doctors, and also the technology and the medicines have really come a long way since I was diagnosed in 2008. And I get an IV twice a year. But you know what, James? I go and I get an IV, and I'm usually sitting right across from a woman that's got breast cancer, and she's getting, treated. And so I'm really, really lucky. I've really got a ton to be thankful for. So I'm good. Thank you.
And the book still get in front of people and
Yeah, the book is Broken Mary. It's about this statue that I found laying next to a dumpster that is a statue of the Virgin Mary, and how that statue and the book has literally touched hundreds of thousands of people all around the world. They're making a documentary on the book, and that's in the works right now. So it's good.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you miss podcasting?
You know, I want to go back because I've been doing a lot with Jim Shorts. And for the last 3 years, Dan Vick is an animator in Chicago. And I've been working with my old boss, Larry Wirt. And we do animation where Jim picks the Chicago Bears every week who they're playing. And that's gotten really good recognition. And so we're doing more animation, but I want Jim to come into the world of podcasting because he bought a casino on Beaver Island. It's a gambling casino, and he wants to do Saturday Night Beaver
Sure.
with Jim Shorts. So that's going to be debuting soon.
I mean, don't we all want Saturday Night Beaver?
Yeah, because it's from Beaver Island
Right.
and the Beaver Casino.
How's Jimmy feeling about the Sox this year?
Unbelievable. Thumbs up. The Sox are unreal. The Bears, I don't know. I don't know what happened. Somebody lost a big bet because it's not going to be good this year.
Jumping back to music for a second, one hobby I fell back into over the past couple of years is buying records. I gave away all my records a long time ago. I donated them to charity. Yeah,
You want them back now.
100%. I mean, back in the day, I started amassing CDs. I had walls of CDs.
Right.
Like, this is the future right here. No one's pressing records. Got rid of them all. I certainly threw myself back into the hobby hard, especially hard over the pandemic. Do you still collect vinyl? Do you collect vinyl?
No, but my son does. And I certainly know people that do. And we've got one of the best vinyl shops people from all over the Midwest come to the corner record store in Granville. It is unbelievable. You might as well stay over a couple of days because it'll take 3 days to go through everything.
Those are the best.
I love vinyl. And everybody, I mean, everybody has and still does now release on vinyl.
Yeah.
It's great.
I mean, most of the bands I talk to will say that their release strategy is digital strategy and vinyl. And that CDs, some will still do cassettes, which I think is cute, but really it's vinyl and digital.
And I'm catching wind that cassettes are making a big comeback.
They are, because they're affordable.
Yeah.
It's an affordable way to create something collectible and tangible for people.
You know what we ended up doing is we're always looking, my photographer and partner, Bob Newman, he shot Nathan, the last video we shot, and he used an old Polaroid. And Nathan he's so young, he's like, what is this? And he loved it so much. His album jacket, which is on vinyl, is of this Polaroid. So yeah, this whole technology everything is coming back, but I love vinyl. I absolutely love vinyl.
Well, as a music fan, I mean, I'm sure you can relate to this. When I listen to a playlist in my car, if I'm just Bluetoothing it,
right,
I get ADD when I listen. I'm just kind of like,
right.
I listen to like the first minute and I'm arrowing through stuff. But when you put on a record, you're locked into it for 20 minutes aside.
Mm-hmm.
The good songs and the bad songs, you're in that artistic vision for that stretch of time.
And James, I think bands can also take, because of the size, they can actually write some thoughts and liner notes that are easy to read. And it's just while you're listening, you're reading. And I just love that format. That's just love it, especially double albums now too.
Yeah.
It's just great. Box sets.
I just got the new Rob Zombie album, and it includes a book which is record sized, and it's like a coffee table book.
Isn't it cool?
It's ridiculous.
It's really great. And I love bands that are bringing, like yellow vinyl or blue vinyl
or splatter.
Yeah, it's to me, it's what it should be. And it does sound better. I could take an album and put it up against a CD or an MP3. No.
One of the things I think that is probably hard for Kevin Matthews is to do something new, like Elevator a Go-Go, when all the people who know you from the 90s and aughts want you to be that radio guy. They have an idea in their head of who Kevin Matthews is, and he has to be a radio broadcaster. Yeah, and we had so much fun. I don't know if I could do radio these days. It's just too. I would rather do this. I just this format. You've tasted entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and I like it. I'd like to buy a I wouldn't want to buy a radio station because just the electric bill every year is like $1 million.
You have to own an antenna or at least an antenna.
Yeah,
it's
insane.
Yeah.
I literally built a live streaming 24/7 platform for $1,200. You can listen to it in Paris. Or, it's just, again, just embrace technology, and it's a wonderful thing.
I love it. All right. So in summary, Kevin Matthews, Elevator a Go-Go is what you're doing. It looks great.
Thank you.
Sounds great. And as a music fan myself, as a fan of independent music and supporting music, I wholeheartedly love this effort. It's awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate it because I would love to be able to really count on you and your people and show and the folks that your fans and people watching now. Again, if you know of somebody that's really worked so hard and they deserve attention, please go to Elevator a Go-Go and fill it out a little. It's just this. We've got to do it this way because I can't go on, Facebook and somebody's got, hey, you should go to YouTube and check out their. No. I just go to Elevator a Go-Go and nominate them, and we'll look at them. And James, we'll stay in touch and see who we get from Chicago or Illinois.
Love it. And I'd be happy to road trip and watch you film.
Oh, yeah. I would love to have you. You could always come on over and, drive your car into the elevator and eat. You really seriously can. And congratulations, too, on 7 years. That's impressive. It really is. Bravo.
I don't know if it's tenacity or stubbornness or.
No, you know what? It's a love. It's like you do it because the content, it's all about content, and it's content that you love, and kudos. It's because look at your son's diversity. Yeah. He got that from somebody. I wonder who.
It's funny. I kept waiting for him to rebel musically because as kids, don't we all kind of rebel against our parents with music?
No,
there was nothing he could do. There was nothing musically he could do to rebel against me. It's like, oh, you're playing Behemoth. Oh, that's cute. That doesn't faze me.
I had Trevor, my son, in a car seat, and we put car seats next to us. So he's strapped into a little car seat, and we're listening to Dynamo Hum by Frank Zappa. And he was laughing. And to this day, it's rooted, Zappa. Or when Debbie, my wife, was pregnant with Trev, she would listen to Prince. And we were listening to Prince in the birthing room. And to this day, Trevor loves Prince.
To this day, Erotic City is
there you go.
A nice reminder of the miracle of life.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, James, congratulations. And to everybody, thank you. And please go to Elevator a Go-Go if you know of a musician that we should look at.
Awesome. All right, Kev, stay right there. We're going to end the broadcast or the live stream. So thank you, everybody, for watching and for listening.
Thank you.
That's Kevin freaking Matthews right there.